Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Keith, for co-hosting. As usual, we'll wait a few minutes to let more people drop in. I look a little bit like I'm outside the camera, so. Can you hear me okay, everyone? Yeah. I don't know how to make myself look less faded. There we go. There we go. Okay, we're almost there. Thanks, Anne Marie. Okay, once we hit 30, we'll say hello to each other. There we go. So anyway, welcome to Mission Dharma. Please feel free to unmute, have your camera on if you're willing, and say where you're calling in from if you like. So everyone can see each other and feel like you at least slightly simulates what it's like to be together in a room.
Hi from Maryland.
Hi, Laura. Welcome.
Hi from Richmond. It's Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Hi from Scottsdale.
Hi, Cecilia.
Hi from Albany.
Who is that in Albany?
Deborah.
Oh, hi,
Deborah
Deborah.
Coffin.
Welcome.
Hi.
How wonderful.
Mary from Santa Barbara, other Mary.
Hi, Mary. Okay, we've got the Marys here tonight. That's
Jim from Southwest Washington.
hello, Jim. Welcome.
Martin, Bowen Island, BC.
Hello, Martin. Glad to see you.
Thank you.
Hello, Linda.
Linda from Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Great.
I'm John from Victoria, BC in Canada.
John, welcome. Glad you're with us.
Daryl from Lafayette.
Hi, Daryl. Welcome.
Thank you.
Katie from San Francisco.
All right, Katie from Hawaii. No.
Naomi from.
Oh, Naomi.
Was that Noemi?
Yes.
Hi, Noemi.
Nixon. Hi.
Glad you're here.
Ajala, San Francisco, but in Sonoma this week.
Hi, Ajala. Hope you enjoy Sonoma this week.
Christian and Sarah from San Francisco.
Christian and Sarah, welcome. Glad you're here.
Jennifer from San Rafael.
Hi, Jennifer. Welcome. Okay.
Keith from Berkeley.
Hey, Keith. Thank you again for co-hosting. Anyway, it's good to hear your voices, good to see your faces. Good to know, especially that we are able to practice together, support each other, lift each other. As I was mentioning to a group this weekend in Tucson where I was leading a retreat, often we'll go to the group for how it might nourish us or help us remember our practice. But we may not always appreciate how much we're actually giving by showing up and lifting other people's practice. And as I often do, I actually read directly from it, the Lessons from Geese that was put out many, many years ago. And I've been giving the wrong number about how much extra you get when you practice with other people, but the accurate reading, I think now is 72% greater lifting power if you ride on the thrust of the other birds, and you get where you're going faster, and you look after each other. So we're like geese. So rather than talk about it, let's feel that impact. Satya, so good to see you pop in. Long time. Anyway, our opportunity tonight is to know we are being supported by each other, but to be alone together. To feel how the group is holding us in our seclusion. So close your eyes, at least so you can sense the secluded part. And notice how quickly your body fills your attention. You may have not known why your mind was so busy all day until you drop into your body and you recognize the tension. Notice the buzzing and begin to just let it melt into the openness of your practice. The openness being the natural state of being aware. And we sense how there really is no dividing line between this sitting body and the vast space of our own mind that has no location, no limits, no height, no depth, no color, no form, no inside, no outside, just free. And our body just melts into that free, open space of awareness. Like a block of ice that's melted in a hot midday sun. All tension falling away. Not because we tried to relax, but because our tension and body came together in unity. So the idea of our body just gives way to the little points of sensation, like stars flickering in this vast evening sky. And feeling the vibrations, the twinkles like vibrations pulsing. We take in the sounds of our space, the sound of my voice, the sound of silence, whatever sounds are being heard where you are, letting all the sounds come and go without naming them or judging them, just hearing. I'll just add to them a little bit. In the middle of it all, we remember our body and its breath, anchoring us to this living present. And we can see in real time there is no past. That's just a memory. There is no future. That's just a dream. There's just this. It's not even a present. It's just reality. Just life. Nature. If we're here, we will notice moods move through our consciousness like internal weather. It often has a physical corollary. Feel sad in our mind and the body. Feel joy in our mind and it manifests in our body. Feel agitated, restless. Feel angry, frustrated. We just let this internal weather flow through, rising and fading as everything does. And we let all the thoughts and images that also visit unbidden arise and pass like clouds floating through a windy sky. We don't get involved at all in the content of the thinking, just the process. Realizing the Dharma with each moment and noticing how it's marked by impermanence and change. How it's marked by selflessness, how everything arises and passes on its own. And awareness just rests in its own nature of being aware. Aware, supported by the body and breath. Another reminder of the selflessness of our practice. Our intention is to maintain continuous attention, but inevitably, because the mind is conditioned, thoughts arise and sometimes mindfulness doesn't rise up to notice them. And then mind gets absorbed in fantasy, and planning, remembering. And then mindfulness shows up completely unbidden and fulfills its task of waking us up to where we are, helping us to notice the presently arising experience. All that is just happening. All that can be done deliberately is the intention to be continuous in our practice. And the rest is just an unfolding. So no need to stress, strain, try to make anything happen. Simply remain aware as long as it lasts. That's all that mindfulness wants, is to notice. Just this moment, just this body, just this being aware, just this breath, or whatever is predominant. If you feel the stability of being aware itself, then simply rest in being aware without anchoring the attention anywhere except to each presently arising experience. But if your attention feels unsteady, scattered, then use the vital support of the body and breath. A place to return to, a place to feel the touch of the present moment. gathering and sustaining through the duration of each breath. Feeling it intimately, breath by breath. Otherwise, just be aware. See what shows up. All that we adjust is the quality of our attention. So if you're sinking into dullness, refresh yourself, begin again. If you're straining or struggling, resistant, just notice that. And feel free to mindfully refresh yourself. It's the natural response when you notice that there's straining. Just wisely, lovingly respond to the quality of your attention. Just inviting a welcoming, kind, and interested awareness. And for most of us, supported by the texture, the intimacy with the body and breath. Just this moment. Thank you as always for your practice. Brought a lot of joy to my heart, just opening my eyes and seeing all of you and knowing that we're spreading a little harmlessness. Otherwise, I don't want to generalize too much, but so much harm in our world. It's so important to have little refuges of harmlessness in the middle of it all. Looks like Isabel is chomping at the bit, so I'd love to hear from you. Questions, comments, descriptions,
Okay, great.
anything mostly about your practice tonight.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anything that emerged. Okay, welcome, Isabel. Good to see you.
Good to be with you guys all. I'm still doing my morning meditation is so, if I sit for 30 to 40 minutes and just keep grounding back to my breath, because I have so much chatter and I'm like, I don't want to participate in the chatter, and I feel so at ease to go back just to the sensations of my breath and to feel how it like comes and goes on its own. And one thing I notice is that I have to give myself like the okay, that it's okay to kind of like reposition a little bit, but just to stay with my breath is just like the best thing right now for me. And just really doing with that, I just like feel like that is what I'm called to do. And especially in the morning, like this morning, after I sat and I just like, after I sat for 40 minutes or probably a little bit more than that, the whole thing about using that hour to just cultivate. And then when I wake up, I can let my mind do whatever it does, but it's a little bit more of a tamed mind when I wake up. And I love that. I love that fact that my mind has been through a process of cleansing. And then when I wake up, I'm just like, and when I come out of the meditation, I see, wow, there was such a circus show that wanted to come in and be in the main ring. And I just said, no.
Great. Keep doing what you're doing. It sounds
Okay.
marvelous.
I'll just keep anchoring.
But I would like to add, you really want to be, the way you talked about it tonight, it didn't seem like you were too bothered by the
No, I wasn't.
discursive
No, I'm
thoughts.
happy
But
to like
what I
let it
mean
go.
by not being bothered by it, that you're choosing the breath as a anchor to the present moment, but you don't want to do it because you're bothered by the thinking mind.
Yeah. I'm paying attention to that. Yeah, I'm paying attention to that.
All. Otherwise, keep doing what you're doing. That's why it's there. That's why
Because
you have that
otherwise
anchor.
I will if I'm bothered, I don't, I'm really good at like taking the thoughts and going off into the stratosphere. So it's just really nice to silence that.
Yes.
And I'm not bothered by them. I'm
Great.
bothered if I pay attention to them too much.
Right. Well,
Thank you.
I'm glad that you found a refuge in your body and breath, and that's available to us always. At least
Well,
while we're
I
alive.
just have to say one last thing. There was one talk where somebody came up and talked, and it just hit really deep and made it clear that hour that I sit is a time where I can, you're right, take that refuge. And I really was able to identify what that feels like for me in my body, and that I don't have to participate in the circus act for
Right.
that whole hour.
So I want everyone here, including you, Isabel, to avoid that circus act all day long by just noticing how portable that body and breath are. Wherever you go, whatever you're doing, don't let your mind leave your body, and you'll find that it won't put as much pressure on that hour, because you'll have it spreading out all through the day as well. So yeah, just keep doing what you're doing though, and add the rest of the day too. have fun with it. Anyone else? Okay, everyone's feeling the touch of the breath. I lost Isabel. Okay. We'll let it rest for a few more seconds and then I'll launch into some thoughts, feelings. Okay. So I just want to do a little disclaimer. I'm sitting in the kitchen tonight of my mother's home in Omaha, Nebraska. And I am here along with my wife, Annie, who's on screen, not on screen, but she's with us tonight, and my daughter, Molly. And we are here to celebrate my mother's 100th birthday this week. And it is, yeah, thank you. I'll tell her that you sent your birthday wishes. And I'm tempted to give a little backstory about my mother. Well, basically to talk about her mother. I mean, she's here because her mother came here as a Russian immigrant. At that time, it was basically today's Belarus, near Minsk, a little village that basically doesn't exist anymore because of the pogroms. We're starting to see a smattering of pogrom around the world these days, and some people notice, some people don't. But where Jewish people are targeted, and my grandmother was, and her community, they were targeted, and they all kind of dispersed and came to the U.S. and my mother's mother ended up here in Omaha, Nebraska. And she didn't speak any English, and she couldn't even read and write English anyway, and I don't think she could read or write well in Russian either. But she had a kind of a computer brain, and she started working to feed her family. She was very entrepreneurial, and she ended up working until she was just short of her 104th birthday. So you can see my mother comes from a bit of a lineage of longevity, at least on her end, on that side. Her father died very young, actually, and that's been, I'd say women tend to live a lot longer than men in this world in general. Just they know how to live more wisely, I think. A little softer hearts, not as combustible maybe. But anyway, my grandmother was a real force, a real fiery person, but real bodhisattva, very generous. And my mother inherited some of that energetic quality and inherited, I think, also from her father, a kind of sweetness. And at 100 years old, she's starting to lose her short-term memory. Not just starting, she's kind of in this last couple years, still mobile to a degree, but she sleeps a lot, but losing her short-term memory. But anytime I speak with her, anytime I ask her how she's doing, she says perfect, which is which is not something you'd expect, because usually as people get older, they tend to don't feel as comfortable and they tend to get crankier in some cases, but she seems to be getting just less complicated, less just sweet and appreciative, just so grateful for the littlest thing. And it's very bittersweet to be here. We just arrived just this evening, so I'm a little weary, but it's very bitter. It's so sweet to see her, and she's quintessentially my mother. But I can also see she can't remember. We were here for her 99th birthday. She doesn't remember it, but she remembers us. You know, she's very good in interactions, and she has a pretty good long-term memory. But she's forgotten last year, and so it's poignant, and so things are falling away. And if for some odd reason tonight, I kept thinking of a poem from, it's either Hafez or Rumi, that I've been sharing for years. And so I dug it up just before we came on tonight. And it's entitled, and I've used this so much on retreats, but it's entitled Tending Two Shops. And why am I reading this? Because this poem points to the mind, the identities, the stories that play through our mind, the comparisons, the judgments, the dramas that we get into when life is really quite simple in real time. I say this over and over. Life in real time is just seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. And that's all. That the Buddha called that the all. In the seen, there's just what's seen. In the heard, just what's heard. Smelled, just what's smelled. Tasted, just what's tasted. Felt, just what's felt. Cognized, just what's cognized. That's all. And Ajahn Chah would say, no me, no you, no self at all, just what there is. So that's reality in a way. But our mind, just the part of being human, also has a whole story. You know, my mom has an interesting story. Her mother has an interesting story. But the story for most of us is, and where we often live, is in this story of complaint, story of judgment, story of where am I going, where have I been, the story of time. It's mostly based on history. And so what's lost very much in our experience, which I now see in my mom developing, is just being attuned to the unfolding now, life where it's actually happening, and watching things fall away. My mom used to be a prolific traveler. Now she doesn't really go anywhere, and nor does she even want to. I think she would love to go, only when she occasionally thinks about it. She would love to go to Paris. But otherwise, she's so content right where she is. And granted, she has a wonderful support team. My brother takes immaculate care of her, and she has people who support her. But things are falling away. And I don't think she has very many moments during the day of self-referencing, thinking about herself. And this poem I've always read as a reminder, as a pointer to each of us to where we actually come from, this simple reality of the present moment, minus all the words, this kind of void of this fullness of life right where it touches us, this rich experience, potentially rich experience of being nowhere in particular, not a place, but just an experience of life, and how much we easily miss this when we're busy making other plans. And meanwhile, the inevitable process of life is that anything that we grasp at will eventually flow through our fingers. That's why the Buddha centered his teaching around the cause of suffering is grasping at that which cannot be clung to, which cannot bring any kind of lasting satisfaction. And that any time in our life and every moment that we actually practice simple aware presence, we release that tight fist of grasping. We release that being somebody who's going somewhere, and we return once again to that ever-present wakefulness and clarity. And I talked about it tonight in the sitting as just this open, invisible, I didn't use these words tonight, sky-like nature of our mind that's free, welcoming, noticing, just knowing. But we just get so absorbed in our idea of ourselves. And I can see that falling away for my mom. Of course, it's not easy to carry a 100-year-old body around, and she needs help. And everything moves slowly. But she has quite a twinkle in her eye and a hearty laugh. But anyway, this poem I want to share with you, and maybe you can get the perspective of, you can use it as an immediate pointing out of your own inherent freedom, your own capacity to be free right now. And he uses the language of live in the nowhere where you come from. He says, even though you have an address here, that's our story, that's our history, etc. That's our comparing mind. He says, live in the nowhere where you come from. But I'll read you the whole poem so you can take it as pointing out instruction to at least see the difference between the imaginary comparing mind. You know, we're so often measuring ourselves, comparing to an ideal, to others, and creating a version of ourselves that doesn't even, someone who doesn't even exist. It's just an imaginary you. And then suffering around that endless struggle to either be good enough, better, best, or definitely not less than. And the unfortunate thing that this is very universally human, and it's one of the last fetters or tendencies of mind to be uprooted when as our heart mind gets liberated through careful attention, through anchoring our attention to present time. It's one of the last, what are so-called fetters, to be uprooted, the comparing mind, otherwise known as mana or conceit. And just to give you a little historical background, mana or conceit there's three kinds. There's Atimana, which is the superiority view. That's one version that plays in our mind. There's mana, which is the equality view. And then there's amana, which is the less than or inferiority view, where we're less than. And any one of those is any one that we believe or land in is a complete mistaken perception of what and who we are. Because you, as Thich Nhat Hanh would put it, you, each individual expression of life, you are the richest person on earth. Who've been going around begging for a living, trying way too hard. Isabel before was talking about trying too hard or something. I forgot. Maybe if she wasn't. I've been talking to people who talk about trying too hard. Sometimes we try too hard because our practice is being driven by lack, by some kind of inferiority view, by the view that there's something wrong with us, which we never, ever find in real time. It's only historical. So anyway, getting back to the poem, I'll read it and see if you enjoy it. It's entitled Tending Two Shops. Don't run around this world looking for a hole to hide in. There are wild beasts in every cave. If you live with mice, the cat claws will find you. The only rest comes when you're alone with God. Now you can substitute whatever language you want, whatever image of the divine. This is the punchline. Live in the nowhere where you came from, even though you have an address here. You have eyes that see from that nowhere, and eyes that judge distances, how high, how low. You own two shops, and you run back and forth. Try to close the one that's a fearful trap, getting always smaller. Checkmate this, checkmate that. Keep open the shop where you're not selling fish hooks anymore. You are the free swimming fish. I'll read it once more. The punchline anyway. Live in the nowhere where you came from, even though you have an address here. You have eyes that see from that nowhere, and eyes that judge distances, how high, how low. You own two shops, and you run back and forth. Try to close the one that's a fearful trap, getting always smaller. Checkmate this, checkmate that. Keep open the shop where you're not selling fish hooks anymore. You are the free swimming fish. So it's, like I said, it's bittersweet to be here with my mom. Love being with my mom. And feel really privileged to have a mom who's warm, who's good-hearted. I was telling someone today, one of the people that was here to help support her, that my mom is someone who has not left trails of enemies, and she's always taken the high road and always been very civil, kind. She's just been skillful in her actions, and so she's very well loved, and it's inspiring actually. And I don't know exactly whether her way of being now is the result of not having left trails. But in any case, she's just settling into a sweetness, and it doesn't seem to be, even though it's her 100th birthday, she's not particularly identified nor ruminating about being old. I think to me, she seemed to pretty graciously give up the pride in youth, which is one of is really a big one in our culture. But at the same time, yeah, it's very sweet to be with her and it's inspiring. And at the same time, I see her kind of fading away. And so that naturally I feel she could live another 5 years, but I do already feel her fading in a way. And she sleeps a lot more. And so it's beautiful, it's natural, it's loss, it's inspiring. And I just wanted to bring her here tonight, since I'm at her home and didn't really have time to prepare any formal Dharma topic. But I did, I thought of a few different readings one that I read quite often from the Dalai Lama, that in the context of being with my 100-year-old mom, it's a word to the wise from the Dalai Lama for all of us, not to wait until we're 100 not that she did, but not to wait to really smell the flowers, not wait to return and appreciate that there's no improving on the simple unfolding of the present moment. I notice when I really am here, even in front of this computer, and my full attention is here, nothing is missing. It's as though every desire is fulfilled when I'm present. And yet when I'm lost in my imagination, there's where I have to go and what I have to become, and it's the to-do list, it's the burnout, whatever it is, it's the story. And if I start having those kinds of thoughts, that tells me that I've lost that sense of simplicity. And so the Dalai Lama says, when someone asked him what surprised him most about humanity, he answered, people. They sacrifice their health in order to make money. Then they sacrifice money to recuperate their health. And then they're so anxious about the future that they don't enjoy the present. The result being that they don't live in the present or the future. They live as if they're never going to die, and then die having never really lived. So, two of my favorite reminders, I think maybe paradoxically what really reminds us to live is the reality that we will die. And we have to do that with a sense of humor. That's why I appreciate, even though apparently he was a rascal, I appreciate Pablo Neruda, who said, what we know comes to so little. What we presume is so much. What we learn so laborious. We can only ask questions and die. Better save all our pride for the city of the dead and the day of the carrion. There, when the wind shifts through the hollows of your skull, it will show you all manner of enigmatical things, whispering truths in the void where your ears used to be. I love that one. But then in a more direct transmission from Jennifer Wellwood, she says, in her poem entitled The Dakini Speaks. My friends, let's grow up. Let's stop pretending we don't know the deal here. Or if we truly haven't noticed, let's wake up and notice. Look, everything that can be lost will be lost. It's simple. How could we have missed it for so long? Let's grieve our losses fully, like ripe human beings. But please, let's not be so shocked by them. Let's not act so betrayed as though life had broken her secret promise to us. Impermanence is life's only promise to us, and she keeps it with ruthless impeccability. To a child, she seems cruel, but she is only wild, and her compassion exquisitely precise. Brilliantly penetrating, luminous with truth, she strips away the unreal to show us the real. This is the true ride. Let's give ourselves to it. Let's stop making deals for a safe passage. There isn't one anyway, and the cost is too high. We're not children anymore. The true human adult gives everything for what cannot be lost. Let's dance the wild dance of no hope. So the way that the Buddha died into life, that he settled into the unfolding reality of the present moment, stepped out of the endless story of becoming called samsara. The way the Buddha came to that was through seeing the reality of sickness, aging, and death, and so impermanence as was his teacher, and saw that the only way to be free in this world of constant change is to learn how to let go, to let be, and to realize what happens to our heart and mind when we let go. That doesn't mean get rid of, it means release trying to hold on to youth and health and life and our ideas and our identities. That open space is there when we let go. Open and inviting and comfortable. Right here. Not at the end of the rainbow, but any moment that we're awake. So throughout the ages since the Buddha's teaching, just to encourage this letting go, every single day in every monastery, the same chant over and over. So simple, but somehow we miss it. The Pali words are anicca vada sankara upadavaya dhammino upakitva niruchanti desang vupasamo sukho. I'll chant it in English. All things are impermanent. They arise and they pass away. To be in harmony with this truth brings great happiness. Anicca vada sankara upadavaya dhammino upakitva niruchanti desang vupasamo sukho. All things are impermanent. They arise and they pass away. To be in harmony with this truth brings great happiness. So of course that that experience of letting go is a moment to moment thing. It's not once and for all. It's like noticing right now when there's just a letting be, when there's letting the past fade back into knowing it's gone, the future just a dream, and they're just here. Notice what dawns in that moment of just stopping, simplifying. Just think if some of our politicians would take a little time. Just think, as Thich Nhat Hanh used to say, those who wage green wars with no winners, if they could just stop. If each person could see that just by being here, we are the richest person on earth. Not by any kind of worldly standards, but by having this nature of wakefulness in us. May all beings awaken to the Buddha within. That just means awake. May all beings never be separated from this natural peace. May all beings grow in serenity and equanimity so that we react less and then wander less from this ever-present wakefulness and clarity. May our practice today and every day be dedicated to the awakening of all beings, including ourselves. And may we all be able to say at 100 years old, how are you? Perfect. And may you say every day of your life, how are you? Perfect. Or, I'm here. I'm not definable. I'm free. I'm enough. I'm lacking nothing if I don't consult my memory. May all beings be liberated. I want to honor my dear, my darling wife, Annie, who brought to me, when I was rummaging around just before we met tonight, a beautiful poem from that she heard Jack Cornfield sharing from Isa, I think. That goes, dew evaporates, all this world is dew, so dear, so refreshing, so fleeting. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for birthday wishes from my mom. See them popping up. And Keith, pass it on to you if everyone would stick around for a moment to see if we have any announcements.
Yeah, so just a couple. One, a reminder about Dana. This Sangha has been here for 38 some years now and exists because of the generosity of each of us and the ones like us in the Sangha from before. And so it's an encouragement to give from your heart, to support Howie or whoever, what other teachers are here, and enable this space to continue to exist. details in the chat. I dropped them in about how you can do that. And we're also always looking for volunteers to help do this sort of thing. So feel free to reach out if you're interested.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you. And speaking of Donna, I want to let you know what the results were from last week's outpouring toward Mary. Maybe some of you weren't here, but we collected, I think, close to $1,000 for Poppy's eye surgery. So, feel free to keep giving. I'd love to see Poppy be liberated from her own obscurations, and I'm sure Mary, you can say it if you want to, Mary, but I will thank you on behalf of Mary. She was very moved by your generosity last week.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone. I am just deeply moved and humbled by your kindness, and yeah, it's very healing. It's very healing. So thank you so much to everyone. Thank you, Howie, and I will keep you abreast of what's happening with my dear Poppy.
Thank you. Anyway, feel free to unmute and say goodnight to everyone, and thanks for your practice tonight, and thanks for your generosity.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much.
Good night, thank you.
Good
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Great talk,
Good
Howie.
night.
Good night.
Good night, Howie.
Good
Everyone.
night.
everyone.
Great to see you all.
Good night, Howie. Happy birthday to your mom and happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Good night.
Night. See you next week.